Real good. Let's get it shaking. Just let me know when you're ready and we'll just start asking you some questions.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, good, good, good. I like that. Um, Bryce, who are you? Sell yourself to the world for those unaware of you.
Okay. Uh, so I am a 21-year-old junior lightweight, 12-1 record, four knockouts, and I'm looking to make my mark in the division. I came up as a kickboxer in my amateur career. I had a very successful career there where I won multiple national titles. Uh, Didn't really have much of a boxing background. I had actually only had 15 amateur boxing fights and where I won silver gloves. But I wasn't really much of a boxer growing up. So I'm improving with every single fight that I have. And I've beat some very experienced guys, very experienced pros at this level. And I'm looking to make my mark in the junior lightweight division.
Yeah, I see that when looking at BoxRec. Dayani Butt is a guy that comes to mind. That's a guy that I wouldn't expect someone early in their career to fight, and you beat him. Good fighter, many good fighters. What
Thank you.
what spawned your transition into boxing? Why did you want to become a pro boxer?
So there's just not really, like I said, I came up kickboxing, but there's just not really much of a market out there in the professionals for kickboxing. And I love the sport. I love to compete in it, but I also love boxing. And that being said, there's obviously much more of a market in the pros for boxers. So that made that decision pretty easy.
So it was a business decision. There's
Yes,
basically a very limited career if you want to be a kickboxer. You can try to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, or you can basically make minimum wage for 10 years.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay,
Correct.
that sums it up. Is Syracuse West New York or upstate New York?
So Syracuse is upstate New York.
So I did a golf podcast once, and Oak Hill Country Club near
Yeah.
Rochester, and I got yelled at for saying it wasn't West New York. So I was making sure that I didn't step on any toes because I know there
No,
is a
it's
distinction.
upstate.
Have you ever run into that problem before? Can you relate to that one?
Uh Yeah, I mean, some people like New Yorkers get mad when you tell them that you're from New York and you're from Syracuse. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh, it's upstate. It's not New York. It's New York State." So I consider that New York, but I guess we're upstate. We can't be New Yorkers as well.
You're not city folk. They're like
That's
you
right.
need an asterisk, you
Yeah,
gotta do it. So one thing I've seen you fight a couple of times. I remember I saw you on a top ranked card in upstate New York. We'll call it upstate.
yeah,
Um, Look, it's pretty clear you have a following. It's pretty clear you know how to brand yourself, and it's pretty clear people believe in you and like you. How have
for
you
sure.
built this organic following behind yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I've been lucky enough to have that following ever since I was a kid. Coming up in the amateurs, I had a huge following where we would bring pack events with hundreds and hundreds of fans just for an amateur fight, you know, which is unheard of. And growing up and starting my professional career, my following's only got bigger. I'm extremely lucky, extremely blessed to have the following that I have in Syracuse because I know a lot of fighters can't say that they have a following anywhere close to mine. So I'm just blessed.
Uncle Lukie keeps it real. A lot of world champions don't have the following you have. There's promoters out there that are like I'm serious. There's guys that can really, really fight who
Yeah,
can't connect to any audience of people. They
no,
are
you're right.
great fighters or great female fighters, men, whatever, but they lack the ability of finding the people that most identify with them.
For sure. For sure. They definitely do. And I like to take the time and, talk to the people that come out to support me and because they're taking part of their day to come out and support me too. It's not just like they're a fan that's coming and watching me. No, they're watching me because they care about the end result. They care if I win or lose. And if someone cares about me, I got to give them my time, and I got to care about them because it's the right thing to do, you know.
Do you
So
feel any added pressure sometimes because you're the fighting pride and joy of a lot of people? Like you're probably one of the only boxers a lot of your fans know. They're fans more so of you than maybe the sport. Do you feel an
true.
obligation at times?
I don't honestly. I really don't feel any added pressure. If anything, I think it brings the best out of me. I've gotten to a point in my career where every single time I step in the ring, I feel like it elevates my game and I fight better than I normally would. I think the pressure or the energy of the room and the people coming to watch me helps me perform at my best and helps me get that extra energy, get that extra motivation to go that extra, throw that extra punch, to throw that extra combination, to push a little harder, to give it everything I have and empty my gas tank.
You have a mindset that's not very common to boxing where you sound like a true professional and an athlete looking to get the best out of this sport. When I talk to a
And
lot of boxers, it almost always seems like how can we accumulate as much money as possible and take the path of least resistance? Like that's
yeah,
my general overarching theme.
no,
It's
I get,
I get a different sense from you.
yeah. Uh, growing up, I've always been a competitor. I've always wanted the toughest matchups, the toughest fights, because I don't want to fake anything, right? You see a lot of boxers nowadays that take these fights. They'll try to build their record and take easy fights and call themselves a champion or call themselves a phenomenal fighter when in reality they haven't fought anyone yet. I don't want that. I want to fight the best of the best, give the people what they want, give the fans what they want because that's what this sport needs. And I'll feel proud of myself if I do that. If I go out and I just fight, continue to be bums and guys with terrible records, I'm not going to feel very good about myself. I want to challenge myself. I want to fight the best. I want to beat the best.
Talk about your football achievements. Played a little football myself. I was a terrible slot receiver. What was your
Oh,
position? What are some of the schemes you were drawing up? Were you offense or defense? Are we running a 4-3, a 3-4? Are you
nice.
lining up in pro formation? Is it a little shotgun? What are we doing here?
Yeah. So I played running back and middle linebacker. I was actually one of the smallest middle linebackers in my league growing up in high school. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I was known as a kid who will run through your face, even though he's 165 pounds at middle linebacker, just because I was fearless. Like if I saw a kid with a ball that was 3 times my size, I'll chop him. I'll go low. I'll be smart when I hit him. I'm not gonna hit him high, but I'm gonna run 150% through him. Right. I'm not gonna stop and let him hit me. I'm gonna do the hitting. I'm gonna hit him. I ran a 4.6 40.
That's
Uh,
booking. That's good.
it was fast, but I wasn't the fastest kid out there, but I was never the strongest kid out there. But I knew my heart is what kept me in it and made me the player that I was.
I mean, if you run a 4-6, you can run east to west and north to south on a football field. I think I was mostly told go north to south. They didn't really want me going east to west because that's where
Yeah,
if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But
I've got
football is
that.
one of those sports where it's very physical, and especially if you play against the elite players, it really wears you out. Getting tackled by the big boys, maybe like yourself, it really drains that. It's like probably like boxing. It is like boxing. You get hit five
Yep,
times and
yep.
you're slowed down.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right about that. My body, to be honest, still isn't the same uh, from playing football all my life, but I enjoyed it and I don't regret anything. I'm happy I did it. I'm happy my parents, my coaches, my team allowed me to do it, even though they knew I had this down the road because if I ever had a kid or I ever had a child that I was bringing up, I tell them do the same thing. Do what you love and uh, do what your heart is into and follow your passion because you only live once, you know?
As long as you get something positive out of it, that's really what,
Yeah.
I think that's really the big thing, and you have memories and all that stuff. Um, 8 round fights. That's a big adjustment when you get into the 8 round, 10 round fights. There's not a lot of bad
Yeah.
fighters because state athletic commissions have to sanction someone and say that they're fit to either compete in 8 or 10 round fights. What is
Mhm.
this realm of fight for you? What are the adjustments and what do you view the level of competition when you start to enter into these big boy challenges of 8 round fights?
Mhm. To me, it's not really going to be much of a jump. To be honest, I spar 12 rounds. I've sparred as much as 14 rounds straight before with high level guys. So 8 rounds to me is nothing. I feel like my cardio, I feel like I can fight all day long. I feel like I could go 20 rounds if they wanted me to. You know, I rely on my cardio, and I think I trust that every single time I get in the ring, my cardio is going to be better than my opponents because of the preparation that I put into my training camp. So going from 6 to 8 rounds or 6 to 10 rounds, 8 to 10 rounds, I don't think it's going to be much of a jump.
Okay. Um, Little negative Nancy, what happened in the Ryan Pino fight? Just if you don't mind me asking, because that's the blemish
Yeah,
on your
yeah, of
record.
course.
What happened there?
Yeah. I just me coming in with the wrong game plan. I believe it was, I want to say my seventh fight or my eighth fight in my career. And I'm happy that it happened. I'm happy that that loss happened because that loss made me the fighter I am today and the person I am today. I learned so much from that fight, and that fight personally made me a better fighter, a better person, and a better boxer. I realized what I had to work on. I fixed it, and if I could get that fight back tomorrow and rerun it, I rerun it all the time in my head. If I could do it in person, I would love to.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. Half baked research, seventh fight of your career. And then in your ninth fight of your career, you took on Dion Butt. And I believe that you went in as a B side. I'm not completely sure, but I believe you go in as the B side.
Yeah, I did go in as a beast at that fight. We were coming into his hometown. He's from Philly, a Philly fighter, and they called me up. They wanted to challenge me, and it was a winnable fight, I thought. And I went out there and I showed the Philly fans what was up. Came
Well,
home with the W.
let me also translate that. You're coming off of a loss on paper to kind of a
Yeah,
journeyman opponent. And
yeah,
I think a matchmaker's looking at you as a vulnerable guy with a good fan base, and they're calling you up to build up a prospect. And you went in there and
mhm,
you upset the apple cart. And to me, it shows a level of mental toughness that after taking a loss, it wasn't years, it was mere a fight after, 2 fights after, you get in there and had a great performance.
mhm. And going back to that fight I lost, one of the main things in that fight that, looking back on it, I had to improve was leaving that fight and feeling like I held back. I didn't really give it everything I had to give. I didn't let my hands go. I wasn't completely confident. I was a little gun shy at times because he was a good counterpuncher and he hit me with a couple good shots. And I was kind of afraid to open up and, maybe get knocked out or maybe have the fight stopped. So I was a little gun shy, and that's why I lost by split decision. So going forward, I realized that I I can't be gun shy. I had to go out and I got to commit to my combinations. I had to throw my punches with mean intent, and I got to have 110% confident in myself when I'm in that ring. Uh, and my mindset changed from that fight on, and that made me a better fighter.
Can you see that tentative nature in another fighter that you once had in that fight? Can you pick up on those traits either when you're in the ring or you watch somebody? Is that now an advantage that since you've been there, you might see things that a fighter's working through that you actually worked through and use it to your advantage now.
100%. 100%. Like my last fight, for example, against Jonathan DePina, I realized that he was a little gun shy himself. He was relying on looking for the home run punch, 1-2 punches, and then every single time we were on the inside, he'd hold me. So I said, okay, if you don't want to fight on the inside, I'm going to make you fight on the inside. So I created room. I framed my lead hand. And I was hitting his body, coming back up top, throwing combinations, and forcing him to fight a fight that he didn't want to fight.
Perfect. And that fight was contested at 138, but you're going to continue your career at 140?
Yeah, so I'll continue my career at 140 as of now. You know, I want to go one division at a time. I don't want to hop around. Uh, I want to make my name known in this division. And then once I do that, I might go to 135. I might jump to 147. But right now it's 140.
Okay, whenever I see those in between weights, I gotta ask because that's
Yeah.
that little teaser of, hey, let's see how low we could go.
Yeah.
Let me look at the name of this, the management, home team management. How did you get affiliated? How's that relationship going?
So I'm affiliated with Home Team Management. I've actually known Amir, man, since I was 11 years old. He used to be my amateur kickboxing promoter back in the day. And I was always a big fighter on that show. And I grew up fighting on that promotion. And Amir's treated me phenomenally. He's been the best promoter, the best friend, the best advisor, the best coach at times that I've needed growing up. And he's done nothing but help me out. So I'm very thankful for him and Home Team Management.
Well, this is a cutthroat business. How does it feel to have someone that you've known for 10 years? That's kind of helping guide your career. I mean, I think that's a big issue with a lot of young fighters is, can I trust the people that are in the position to guide my career? It sounds like you've known this guy for so long. Why wouldn't you trust him? Because at this point, why would he have helped you for this long?
Exactly. No, exactly. You said it yourself. Boxing is a cutthroat business, and you don't know if you can really trust somebody who's supposedly on your team, right? But in my case, having a manager that's been with me for so long in Amir Abdallah, I know that I can trust him. He's been a trustworthy guy all my life, and I have nothing but good things to say about him. So,
Any goals for signing with a promotional entity before the year's over?
not at this time. If someone makes me an offer that I think is worth my time and worth my while and that I can value, then of course I'll accept it. But for right now, with what I have going on and coming in and fighting at the Turning Stone every time they're there with some big promotions or at different places, uh, even coming in as a B side, I'm fine with that. But if someone can make me an offer that I think is worth my while and worth my value, then yeah, I'll sign with somebody.
Thought you were gonna hit me with the Godfather. If they make me an offer, I can't refuse. Thought you were gonna hit me with that. If they,
That's
you
right.
know
A
what I
little
mean, man.
Godfather.
Forget about it. If they just give a fine Italian gentleman shows up to my house and offers me a great contract, I might sign with them. Um, when do you really want to take one of these big step up fights? Like in a perfect world, when you're 23, 24, would you like to enter the mix? Because we look at this division, Shakur Stevenson at some point is going to be there. Devin Haney's going to be there sooner than later.
They're
Teofimo
all moving
Lopez
up.
is there.
Yeah.
We have a slew of really famous guys that make millions of dollars in your division. When do you want to throw your name in that hat realistically for the fans that want to follow your career from this point on?
Mhm. So as a fighter, all I can do is fight who's in front of me, right? And fight who I have set up in front of me to fight. If it was up to me, I'd want those fights ASAP, like ASAP. But I'm smart enough to take the back seat and realize that I have a team around me. Why not use them? I have the best coach in the world in Jim Andrello. I have a great advisor and manager in Amir Abdallah. Russell Peltz also helps me along. I have my father. I have all these people around me who I respect, and I let them guide me as far as who I'm going to fight, when I'm going to fight them, where I'm going to fight them, when I'm going to fight them. I just show up and I fight. So who's ever in the ring across from me, whether it's Devin Haney or some journeyman from wherever, I'm going to fight the same way no matter what.
You literally have a Hall of Fame team. That's sometimes overused, but you like literally have a Hall of Fame team. Give me a little insight to you and your coach's relationship.
So my coach, Jim Andrello, has actually been with me since the age of 5 years old as well. Like I said, I started in kickboxing coming up. He was actually my head martial arts instructor at the age of 5. And I stopped doing martial arts at the age of 11. Jim Andrello was also a fight instructor, a fight coach, coached kickboxers. He's boxed himself. He's also coached boxers. And he's been with me for all my life. He's like a second father to me. He's been phenomenal. He's a great guy who I trust very much. And like you said before, I'll repeat again, trust means a ton in this sport because a lot of people don't have it. But I can truly say that I trust my team.
Well, I mean, I was saying this to someone the other day, and I'm sure you're going to be like, dude, you're an interview guy. Why are you preaching? But boxing's closer to war than it is a sport, you know? And if you go to war, you need to have people that you believe are behind you. I don't want to go to war with some people that are halfway in with me. Everyone's got to be on the same program. And I feel like that's what a boxing team is. You have to be all in, and it's like you're heading to war.
100%. You said it yourself. Yeah, trust is so important. And I think it goes both ways, right? Uh, I think as a fighter, your coach and your team around you has to trust you. They have to trust you that you're going to stay with them. And that loyalty, that coach to fighter loyalty and fighter to coach loyalty is crucial. You see a lot of fighters that lose the fight and then they jump trainers, or they think they can work on this, so they'll move to this trainer and then this trainer and then that trainer. I think to have that relationship with your coach and to have that loyalty to know when, lose, hey, listen, if I need help, I might get a little advice over here, I might get a little advice over there, right? But I trust that my coach has all the tools to make an adjustment, win, lose, or draw, and help me out going forward.
Very mature perspective. Who is the man at 140 pounds, in your opinion?
Man, right now I think Tio. I think Tio just showed it this past 2 weekends ago against Josh Taylor. I think he showed it. Regis Prograis had a win. I wasn't too impressed with him over Carrillo. I don't think he looked too good. But hey, all those guys are high level fighters. I'm not going to talk down on any of those guys. They're champions for a reason. But right now, I think the man's Tio. I think he's the guy everybody's gunning for.
To me, and this is just an observer standpoint, and I like that you say that because when you get to the top, there's no bad fighters. It feels
Yeah,
like we're on the verge of a new era coming to 140. It feels like we have established names, but it feels like there's a new era coming with the Richardson Hitchens and the maybe the
mm-hmm.
Bryce Mills and the Tiger Johnson and the Shakur Stevenson and the Devin Haney's. It feels like we're in a transition from an older period to a newer period right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. You're going to see a lot of those 135ers, those lightweights come up to 140 eventually. You've already seen it. I think it's just a matter of time before all those guys say, hey, I want to cut the extra 5 pounds. Let's just meet at 140 and fight. Because they're all big lightweights, anyways. So why not fight at your true weight division and fight at super lightweight and make those fights happen there, which a lot of these guys are doing.
Before I get you out of here, do you have any good gym or fight night story?
Any gym or fight night story? Can't really give you a particular story at this time, but I have one thing every single fight night that is, I think it drives people absolutely nuts. That if you're in my locker room with me, that I gotta do 24/7. I drink a lot of water, when you dehydrate yourself to make weight and then you rehydrate yourself, you drink a ton of water. So I'm drinking water 24/7. On fight day, the inspector, they have to go to the bathroom with you when you go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom more than any other fighter on fight night. So my inspector, it's every 15 minutes, 20 minutes fight night where I'm sitting in the locker room for sometimes 2 hours. I'm like, hit my inspector, gotta go to the bathroom again. Okay, brings me, I handle the business. I go back 5 minutes later, gotta go to the bathroom again. My inspector, I feel like he's just rolling his eyes and like, yo, this kid's gotta stop. This kid's gotta stop with the water. But happens every single fight. Not much of a story, but I thought it was funny.
Well, I mean, I've typically when I've been there, I've seen the opposite story where guys
Yeah.
can't pee. There's like a pre-fight drug
Uh,
test, and they come like no,
yeah.
yeah, you're drinking water. Guys come to the fight and they're not able to pee, and then they can't get their hands wrapped because they're sitting drinking water. Like I've seen the other story where it's the guys sitting waiting to do the pee test before they can even get going.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely not me.
You're the one where if they say we're drug testing tomorrow, you're like, fine, we'll get that out real quick.
Get that out in a minute. I'm there. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, where can people follow you and get behind you?
So if people want to follow me, they can find me on Instagram at bmills, BMILLZZZS, or they can find me on Facebook, Bryce Mills.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It was great to chat with you, and I look
Yes, sir.
forward to what you got going next.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time.